All right, it is time for Hendricks How-Tos. My name is Cornelia Hoskin. I am a Big Leap coach. I am in Boston, Massachusetts, and welcome to all of you across the world. Today, I'd like to talk about time and 3 aspects of time as Hendricks tools relate. Einstein time, how it relates to our genius spiral, our zones of incompetence, competence, excellence, and our zone of genius. And finally, the idea of a new time structure for creative people. So Gay Hendricks talks about Einstein time as simply, we know Einstein and the theory of relativity. So this is how we relate to time. And he gives the example of 1 minute snuggling with our beloved and versus 1 minute sitting on a hot stove. It's how we relate to that time. One is expansive and we want to fill all of our time. And the other is constricted and we want to get off of that stove. We're fighting that time. And there are 2 tips for shifting into Einstein time. And Gay writes about this in The Big Leap that we all know. The first tip is eliminate complaining about time. And this is so hard because we do it so easily. Oh, I'm so busy. I can't. I don't have enough time. And what this tip asks is to shift from being a victim of time to being a creator of time. And as a result, you have more choice about your time. And the second tip is to generate an abundance of time. Ask yourself, where in my life am I not taking full ownership? Another way of saying that is, what aspect of my life do I need to take full ownership of? And this is where taking 100% responsibility as it relates to the genius spiral comes in. When we own our unconscious commitments about our zones of incompetence, competence, excellence, we can shift our relationship to time spent in those zones and ideally shift out of some of those more icky zones that we may spend time in. So let's go through those zones in more detail. First, our zone of incompetence. What do I persist in doing that others can do better? And I ask myself, how am I committed to doing those things that others can do better? How am I committed to doing those things that I'm not good at and that I don't enjoy? The unconscious commitment in there is suffering, frustration, being a victim of time. The second layer to the genius spiral is our zone of competence, where we're doing things just as well as others can, just sort of plodding along. And we ask ourselves, how am I committed to going through the motions on this? Sort of maintaining the status quo, not pushing the boundaries at all, just that's what I do. It's what happens. Let's look at that unconscious commitment and how it relates to how we spend our time. Then the zone of excellence. This is so difficult. It's where I actually can do it better than most people, but it is not my zone of genius. And I ask, how am I committed to doing really well in this, but maybe playing it safe? I can live in the zone of excellence and take care of this and take care of that and solve this problem, put out that fire. And I get accolades for that. I get the satisfaction of checking off a box and fixing that thing. But time is slow. Time is stuck. It feels constricted in that zone, even in that zone of excellence when we're good at things. And so genius is closely tied to creativity, as we know. And so that takes us to the third part of these tips that I'm offering today and reminding us all of the new time structure for creative people. And we're all creative people. I work with musicians and artists and writers, but really we are all creative people. And this is about being intentional with our time so that we can enjoy more of our genius and that expansive Einsteinian relationship to time. So the new time structure, we can divide our days, structure our days or parts of our days into alpha, beta, and gamma days. An alpha day is an open, unstructured day, free of work, free of administrative overhead, emails and meetings, and maybe this is time where you walk in nature or spend time with your beloved. I personally try to structure at least a part of every day for this. To have a full day of this is delectable and ideal. Second is beta. Beta days are where we intentionally make this day for intense focus, productivity, and getting things done. Without the, what I will add about the alpha day is that is actually what's feeding our creativity. That is where we give ourselves the brain space to process, problem solve, think creatively about life and about our other things, and give ourselves that space. So in my idea of a beta day, it does involve intentionally looking at my day, the number of hours that I have, and blocking out the time where I will put on do not disturb, chunk my tasks into, this is where I'm going to do some focused deep work. This is where I'm going to take care of a whole list of tasks all at once. And this is the day that I protect my calendar most. No meetings, no obsessive email checking. There are distractions that we all know, like social media. Breaking the habit of social media is recommended for every day, but especially for these intense focus days. Distraction is a killer there. And then a gamma day. Gamma days are strictly just for errands, emails, meetings, that administrative overhead, all that stuff we have to get done in a day with no real expectation of focus or creativity. Yes, it will require focus to write an email, those sorts of things, but it's not, there's not an expectation of any creativity, any deep work coming out of a gamma day. And again, I will say that I can chunk up my days to include an alpha and a beta together. Gamma feel a little bit looser and maybe a little higher energy. And so those are days for fear melters and walking and drinking lots of water. So I invite more conversation about how we relate to time. And I thank you all for being here today. Bye.